So let's talk about Dubai. We're going to dive into its absolutely incredible story. I mean, how it went from this pretty sparse desert outpost to the glittering, futuristic city we all know today. It's a transformation that feels almost impossible, and the real reason why, well, it's probably not what you think.
Okay, let's just pause on this for a second, because this is the central question, and it's almost unbelievable when you think about it. How does a small community, just trying to get by with fishing and pearl diving in one of the most difficult climates on Earth, how does it become this? A global hub for finance, tourism, and just mind-bending architecture?
Now, the answer that probably jumps into your head right away is oil, right? Black gold. They got lucky, struck it rich, and that money built the entire city. And you know what? That's definitely part of the story.
But what if I told you that's not even close to the whole story? What if oil wasn't the foundation of Dubai's wealth, but just the rocket fuel for a much older and way more ambitious vision? That's what we're going to unpack.
To really, truly understand Dubai, we have to go back, way back, before a single drop of oil was ever discovered. The city's core identity, its actual DNA, was forged in the pearl trade and its strategic location around a single saltwater canal, the Dubai Creek.
So check out this timeline. Long before oil was even a thought, Dubai was already making these incredibly smart strategic moves. In 1833, the ruling Al Maktoum family made a break and established independence. Then the pearl industry started booming, making it a key port. But the real masterstroke, that came in 1902. The ruler at the time did something radical. He invited foreign traders to set up shop completely tax-free. And that one decision, it flooded the city with merchants and basically sealed its destiny as a center for commerce.
This whole strategy turned Dubai into what's known as an entrepot. It's a bit of a fancy word, but the concept is super simple. It's basically a giant duty-free trading post. Goods come in, get traded, and go right back out. This idea is absolutely fundamental to understanding how Dubai works, both back then and even today. It was built on trade, not on digging stuff out of the ground.
And the scale we're talking about here is just staggering. The pearl trade made up 95% of the entire region's economy. But all that prosperity was built on something really fragile, because when Japan invented artificial pearls and the Great Depression hit, the whole industry just collapsed. Dubai was suddenly facing a choice: adapt or basically disappear. And that near-death experience taught it a lesson it would never forget. Never, ever rely on just one thing.
All right, let's move into the next phase, because this is where oil finally enters the picture. But remember, it's not the source of the vision. It was the catalyst that made a vision that was already there suddenly possible on a massive scale.
So 1966. This is the game-changing moment. Oil is discovered just off the coast. Now, this could have been the point where Dubai just became another typical oil-rich state. But its leaders, they had a very, very different plan in mind.
And this slide right here explains exactly why. This is maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. Look at this comparison. Dubai's oil reserves were, well, pretty modest actually, especially when you compare them to its neighbor, Abu Dhabi, which had 10 times more. And this fact, that they didn't have that much oil, was, weirdly enough, its greatest blessing. It forced them to think about the long term, about what comes next.
This famous quote from the visionary ruler Sheikh Rashid just perfectly captures that whole mindset. He knew. He knew the oil was going to run out eventually. He understood that all of this new wealth was temporary, and it had to be invested in something permanent, something that would last. So here's the crucial point, the main takeaway. The vision was never to just live off of the oil money. The plan was to use that oil revenue almost like startup capital, seed money to build a totally diversified global city that could thrive long, long after the last drop of oil was gone. An economy built on things like aviation, finance, real estate, and tourism. Okay, so this brings us to the modern era, to the explosive growth. How did they actually pull it off? Well, they used what you could call the city of superlative strategy. The idea was simple. If you build the biggest, the tallest, the best, the world will have no choice but to pay attention.
And this strategy really rested on 4 key pillars. First, create a world-class airline, Emirates, to literally turn Dubai into a global crossroads. Second, build insane architectural icons, the tallest, the most luxurious, to get on the world map. Third, in 2002, they opened up the real estate market to foreign ownership, which just unleashed a massive construction boom. And fourth, they created these tax-free financial zones to attract the world's biggest companies.
And you can literally see this strategy accelerating on this timeline. This wasn't just random construction. Each project was a global advertisement. The first skyscraper in '79 put them on the map. Emirates in '85 connected them to the world. And the Burj Al Arab and the Burj Khalifa, they weren't just buildings, they were giant shimmering statements designed to build the brand of Dubai as the city of the future.
So, after all of that, what's the end results of this unprecedented transformation? What kind of city has this strategy actually created? And what does its future really look like?
Now this is just wild. Look at this chart. It shows the demographic result of that global strategy. A staggering 95% of the people living in Dubai are expatriates. They're not from there. Only 5% are local Emirati citizens. I mean, that is a demographic makeup that you will not find in almost any other major city on Earth.
And what this has created is this really unique social environment. Some people have described it as a cultural no man's land. The idea is that because pretty much everyone is a guest from somewhere else, no single culture completely dominates. And because of that, it allows everyone to kind of feel at home. It's a truly globalized society.
Now, of course, this kind of rapid development has earned both praise and criticism. You see it on both sides. On one hand, people call it an urban phenomenon, a model for how to grow a city, even the Hong Kong of the Middle East. But on the other hand, critics argue that in its quest to become a global city, it's sacrificed some of its local Arabic character. And all that fast growth has also made it one of the highest per capita energy consumers in the world.
And this brings us right back to the ultimate question, doesn't it? The entire city from the very beginning was engineered to succeed in a post-oil world. The vision was to build something permanent out of a temporary resource. So the question we're left with is, has Dubai actually created a truly sustainable model for the 21st century? Or is it a beautiful but maybe fragile paradise that's been built in the sand? It's definitely something to think about.